Everyone, welcome back to the CNK Knowledge Hub, or if you are new, welcome to the channel. Today we'll be looking at a data interpretation test, and I'll just add the link in the description if anyone wants to go through the test at their own time. But then be sure to pause the video and try each of the questions we'll be going through yourself. This is the first question, and it says, study the following graph carefully and answer the questions given below. Okay, the question starts here and it says distribution of candidates who were enrolled for MBA entrance exam and the candidates out of those enrolled who passed the exam in different institutes. Okay, so the total candidates who had enrolled at different institutes was 8,550, and then the total candidates who passed is 5,700. Then the pie charts show the different percentages each institution makes up. Okay, so we'll start with the first question, and it says, what percentage of candidates passed the exam from Institute T out of the total number of candidates enrolled from the same institute? Okay, so we can see from the total candidates who passed the exam that T makes up 9% of those candidates. Okay, so it's 9%. Okay, and then the total number of the candidates who passed is 5,700. So it's 5,700. So the total students who passed from T will be 9% of 5,700. So okay, we'll say 0.09 times 5,700. That gives us 530. Okay, and then going to the total candidates who enrolled for the exam, it will be 8% of 8,550. So we will have, okay, 0.08. Sorry about that. Multiplied by 8,500, which gives us a total of, okay, it's 684 students. Okay, then we can see the question says, what percentage of candidates passed the exam from Institute T out of the total number of candidates enrolled from the same institution? So to calculate this, we will have the percentage. It will be the 513 divided by 684, which gives us, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we have, okay, we have to multiply this by 100. Okay, so we have 513 divided by 684 and multiplied by 100, which is 75%. So we can see that is option C. But okay, what is the ratio of candidates passed to the candidates enrolled from Institute P? Okay, so for the ones who passed, we've got, okay, so let me increase the size of this thing. Okay, for the ones who've passed, I'll just write them as PP. It will be 0.18 times 5,700, which is equal to 1026. Then for the ones who are enrolled, okay, P enrolled is equal to, okay, 0.22, which is from the 22%, times 8,500, which gives us 8,550, sorry, which gives us 1,881. Okay, so from the question we need, okay, past ratio, past to enrolled. So we need PP to PE, which is 1026 to 1881. Okay, so looking at these numbers, okay, looking at 1881 for example, and looking at okay, the values we have on the outskirts, like on the outside, which is 11 and 17, can see that okay, 17 doesn't get into 181, so on this side we will need to have 11. So 1,881 divided by 11 is 171. That okay, so we will use that to divide the 1026 to see what's supposed to be on the other side of the ratio. So it's 1026 divided by 171, which is 6. So our answer is C. And then moving on to the next question. Okay, we have, what is the percentage of candidates? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, what is the percentage of candidates passed to the candidates enrolled for institutes Q and R together? Okay, so we can, going up, we have, okay, Q. Okay, we've got Q is 17% of those who passed, and excuse me, and then R is 13%. Sorry, 13%. Okay, meaning that together, for those who passed, I'll just use P for passed. It's 17 plus 13, which gives us 30%. And then as a number, 30% of 5,700 is, okay, we have 0.3 times 5,700, which is 1,710. Okay, and then for the candidates who enrolled, you can see that Q is 15% and R is 10%. So together it's 10 plus 15, which gives us 25%. Okay, we have 25%. Then the total, 25% of 8,550 is 0.25 times 8,550, which gives us 2,137.5. Okay, let's go back to the question to make sure that we answer it. Okay, it's saying what is the percentage of candidates passed to the candidates enrolled for Institute Q and R together? Okay, so for this percentage, we'll have those who passed divided by those who enrolled. Okay, the comma doesn't really make sense. The 0.5 doesn't make sense in those who enrolled because we are talking about people here. Okay, but then continuing, we have times, okay, 100 it will be 1710 divided by 2137.5 times 100, which is 80%. Okay, and then that is B. Which institute has the highest percentage of candidates passed to the candidates enrolled? Okay, let's see. Okay, considering that the 8,550 and the 5,700 does not change, I will just use their percentages as they are to determine our answer. So we have, okay, let's look at the options they gave us here. Okay, we have Q, and then R, then V, okay, and then T. Okay, and then going up, let's see, with Q we've got 0.17 divided by 0.15. Okay, these are just our percentages. For R is 0.13 divided by 0.1. Then for V is 0.15 divided by 0.12. Then for T it's 0.09 divided by 0.08. Okay, and then the answer for Q. Okay, let's check. Okay, got 1.13. Okay, so let me just check the question just to make sure that I'm answering it correctly. Okay, percentage of candidates who passed to the ones who enrolled. Okay, and then for R it's 0.13 divided by 0.1, which gives us 1.3. Then for V it's 0.15 divided by 0.12, gives us 1.25. Okay, and then for T 0.09 divided by 0.08, which is 1.125. So far the biggest number is for R, which is 1.3, and so our answer is R. Okay, and then moving on to number 5. Okay, the number of candidates passed from institutes S and P together exceeds the number of candidates enrolled from institutes T and R together by. Okay, so be careful here. You can see that for S and P is candidates who passed, and then from T and R is candidates who have enrolled. So with S and P, okay, so I just want to increase the size of my pen. Okay, for S&P, okay, those who passed, we've got 0.16 times, okay, plus, sorry, 0.18, all multiplied by 5,700, which gives us 1,938. Okay, and then for those who have enrolled, that's from T and R. Okay, we've got, okay, T. Okay, with T we have already calculated this, and then we'll just do it so that you can follow steps. Okay, for T it's 0.08. Then for R we've got 0.1. Then all this is multiplied by 8,550. Okay, which gives us 1,539. So the question, to answer the question, will take 1,938 minus 1,539. Which gives us 399, which is C. Okay, so from question 6 we have a new scenario, a new chart. Okay, so it reads as follows. Okay, two different finance companies declare fixed annual rate of interest on the amounts invested with them by investors. The rate of interest offered by these companies may differ from year to year depending on the variation in the economy of the country and the bank's rate of interest. The annual rate of interest offered by the two companies, P and Q, over the years are shown by the line graph provided below. Okay, so we'll check the questions first and then go back to the graphs again. Okay, if two different amounts in the ratio 8:9 are invested in companies P and Q respectively in 2002, then the amounts received after 1 year as interest from companies P and Q are respectively in the ratio. Okay, so in 2002 we can look at 4% for Q, okay, and then for P we've got how much? 6%. Okay, and then the amounts invested, we have 8 to 9. Okay, so in interest on the 8 side we'll have 8 times. Okay, the ratio is P to Q, so 8 is for P, so that will be 0.06. Then on the other side is 9 times 0.04, which gives us 0.48 to 9 times 0.04. Got 0.36. Okay, and then using this we can see that 12 enters in both 48 and 36. Okay, and then excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, so we'll divide by 0.12 on both sides. On this side, 0.48 divided by 0.12 gives us 4, and then 0.36 divided by 0.12 gives us a 3. So our answer will be 4 to 3. Okay, question 7 says, in 2002, a part of 30 lakhs was invested in company P and the rest was invested in company Q for 1 year. So both P plus Q is 30 lakhs. The total interest received was 2.43 lakhs. What was the amount invested in company P? Okay, so we know that in 2002 for P the interest rate was 7.5%, and for Q it was 9%. Okay, so to make up our formula, so the total interest is 2.43 lakhs. So we have 2.43 is equal to 0.09 Q plus 0.075 P. Okay, then so this will be our first equation. Okay, so our first equation comes from the interest. Our second equation will come from the amount invested. So we've got 30 is equal to P plus Q. Okay, so from the second equation, we can say that P is equal to 30 minus Q. Okay, so we'll take equation 3 and substitute it into equation 1. So we've got 2.43 is equal to 0.09 Q plus 0.075 30 minus Q. Okay, so we have 2.43 on this side. Then on this side we have 0.09 Q plus so we have 0.075 times 30, which gives us 2.25, and minus 0.075 Q. Okay, so I'll take 2.25 to the left side of the equation. So we've got 2.43 minus 2.25 is equal to, so on the left hand side, on the right hand side of the equation, we were left with 0.09 Q minus 0.075 Q, which gives us 0.015 Q. And then 2.43 minus 2.25 gives us 0.18. Then on the left we have 0.015 Q. So Q is 0.015 divided by 0.18. which is so Q is 0.18 divided by 0.015, which gives us 12, meaning that P is 30 minus 12, which gives us 18. That will be D. Okay, and then question 8 says a sum of 4.75 lakhs was invested in company Q in 1999 for 1 year. How much more interest would have been earned if the sum was invested in company P? Okay, so with this one we've got that 4.75 was invested in Q. So after 1 year we will have 4.75 plus 0. Okay, so let's look at the interest rate in 1999 first. Okay, so for Q it's 8% and for P it's 10%. Okay, so the value we get for Q after investing for 1 year will be 4.75 times 1.08, which gives us a total of 5.13. Then if we had invested in P, we were going to get 4.75 into 1 plus 0.10, which gives us 5.225. So so the question says, what was the amount in how much more interest would have been earned if the sum was invested in company P? So we are going to take 5.225 and then subtract the 5.13 to get the value that they are asking for. So 5.225 minus 5.13 is 0.095 lakhs. Okay, which is 9,500 here. Okay, an investor invested a sum of 12 lakhs in company P in 1998. Okay, the total amount received after 1 year was reinvested in the same company for 1 more year. The total appreciation received by the investor on his investment was, okay, let's do this. Okay, so we know that 12 lakhs were invested in 1998. Let's see the interest rate in 1998. Okay, it was invested in company P. Okay, the interest rate for company P in 1998 was 8%. So multiply by 1 plus 0.08. Okay, and then they said that how much more interest would have been earned if the sum was invested in we are at number 9. Okay, the total amount received after 1 year was reinvested in the same company for 1 more year. Okay, so interest rate for company P in 1999 is 10%. Yes, it's 10%. So just multiply by 1 plus 0.1. So this gives us a total of, we have 12 times 1.08 times 1.1. So this gives us 14.256 at the end of the 2 years. Okay, and then we know, okay, they want the total appreciation received by the investor on his investment. Okay, so the total amount that the investor made in this investment will be 14.256 minus 12, which gives us 2. Okay, we've got 2.256 lakhs. Okay, and then we can see that that is C after conversion. Okay, and then moving on to question 10. Okay, the question says investor invested 5 lakhs in company Q in 1996. After 1 year, the entire amount along with the interest was transferred to company P in 1997 for 1 more year. Okay, what amount will be received from company P by the investor? Okay, so the investor invested in company Q first in 1996, and the interest rate for company Q in 1996 was 6.5. So multiply by 0.065. So at the end of 1996, the investor received 5 times 1.065, which is 5.325. And then the investor took this money and invested in company P in 1997. Then the interest rate for company P in 1997 was 9%. So we have 5.325 times 1 plus 0.09, which gives us 5.80425. Okay, and then received by company, from company P by the investor will be 5.80425, which is option B. To 15, it says, the following table gives the sales of batteries manufactured by a company over the years. Okay, so we can look at the table. So our first question says, which is question 11, says the total sales of all the 7 years is the maximum for which battery. So with this one, you have to add each, for each column, you have to add all the years, then get the totals. Okay, so for 4AH, we've got so for 4AH, the total will be 75 plus 90 plus 96 plus 105 plus 90 plus 105 plus 115, which gives us a total of 676. Then moving on to 7AH. I'm just writing all the numbers down, like all the totals down, because we might need these numbers later. So we have 144 plus 126 plus 114 plus 90 plus 75 plus 60 plus 85. which gives us 694. Okay, and then for 32 AH, 14 plus 102 plus 75 plus 150 plus 135 plus 165 plus 160, which gives us 901. Okay, and then 35 AH, we've got 108 plus 126 plus 135 plus 75 plus 90 plus 120 plus 145, which gives us a total of 799. Okay, and then the last one is the 55 AH. Okay, so we have 108, 126, 135, 75, 90 plus 120 plus 145. Okay, this one also gives me 799. Okay, so the total sales of all the 7 years is the maximum for which battery. So the highest amount is the 901 for 32 AH. So the answer will be C. Okay, and then what is the difference in the number of 35 AH batteries sold in 1993 and 1997? Okay, for 35 AH, for 1993, we can see that, okay, for 1997, it's okay, for 35 AH, we have 45 batteries, and for 1993, we have 126 batteries. Okay, so, okay, what is the difference in the number of 35 AH batteries sold in 1993 and 1997? 35 AH, 45 and 84. Okay, 84 minus 45 gives us 39. So that will be option D. Okay, and then number 13 says the percentage of 4 AH batteries sold to the total number of batteries sold was maximum in the year. Okay, the total of 4 AH batteries, total number of batteries sold. Okay, so we'll be taking the number of 4 AH, then divided by the total. Okay, let me move this to the side. Okay, so for 92, we've got 75 divided by 543 times 100. Okay, it gives us 13 point. Okay, this is for 1992. So it's 13.81. %. Okay, and then 93, we've got 90 over 528 times 100, which gives us 17.05%. Okay, and then there's 96 divided by 13525 for 94 times 100, which gives us 18.29%. Okay, and then for 95, we have 105 divided by 510 times 100, which gives us 20.59%. And then 96. For 96, we have 90 divided by 465. This is 19.35. And then for 97, 105 divided by 120 times 100, which is, no, sorry, I made a mistake. So it's 105 divided by 495 times 100, which is 21.21%. And then for 98, we have 115 divided by 605, times 100, which is 19%. So the highest is 21.21. So our answer here will be 21.21, that is 1997. And then in case of which battery there was a continuous decrease in sales from 1992 to 1997. So for 4AH, you can see that for 4AH there is an increase, and then for 7AH, there is a decrease, 144 to 12, and then 114, 90. I'll say the answer is 1997 for this one. It's 7AH, meant to say. And then number 15, what was the approximate percentage increase in the sales of 55AH batteries in 1998 compared to that in 1992? So we are looking at 55AH, then we've got 1998 here, then we've got 1992. So in 1992 we had the sales were 108. Sorry, there's something wrong with my writing too. And then for 1998 is 145. So the percentage increase will be 145 minus 108, all divided by 108, taking 1992 as our base. And then we can multiply by 100%. So we have 145 minus 108 divided by 108 times 100, which gives us 34.26%, which is option number D. Option D. And then for question 16 to 20, which is the last batch, I believe. So we have this bar graph. Okay, then the question says, or the instructions say, the bar graph given below shows the percentage distribution of the total production of a car manufacturing company into various models over 2 years. Okay, so question 16 says total number of cars of models P, Q, T manufactured in 2000 is, we're looking at the year 2000. Okay, and then the total number of cars of models P, Q, and T manufactured in 2000 is, you can see that P is the blue one, so we've got 30. From the bar graph, it's 30%. Okay, and then for Q, which is the red one, which is from 30 to 35, which gives us 15%. Okay, for T is the light blue one, which is from 75 to 90 which gives us 15% as well. P, which is 30%, we'll have 30% times 350, okay, 350 000. Okay, so for P we have 105 000. And then for Q will be 0.15 times 35000. Okay, that's for both Q and T, which gives 500, which is the same thing for T. And then adding all of them gives us 210 000, which is option C. So there's something wrong with my writing too, so I will just say where I can write. Okay, and then moving on to question 17, saying for which model the percentage rise or fall in the production from 2000 to 2001 was minimum. Okay, so let's see, for you moved from 10% to 5%, so the percentage change is 5%. Okay, and then for T, it moved from 15% to 10%, the change is also 5%. Okay, and then for S, it's from 10% to 10%, so no change, 0. Okay, and then for R, we've got, okay, so it's 65 minus 45, which is 20%, to 15%, so the change is 5%. And then for Q, we are moving from 15%, which is 45% minus 30%, to 20%. So the change is also 5%. Then for P, which has to be the highest, is from 30% to 40%, which is 10%, a 10% increase. So this one is the highest, since the other ones it's either 0 or 5%. So our answer here, okay, we don't have P as the option, so okay, so the question says for which model was it minimum, and then the minimum we can see is S with 0%. Okay, and then for question 18, the question says, what was the difference in the number of Q type cars produced in 2000 and that produced in 2001? Okay, the difference in the number. Okay, so we can see in 2000 Q was, okay, 15% of 350,000, which gives us, okay, which gives us 52,500. And then for 2001, we've got 20% of 440,000, which is 88,000. Okay, and then the difference in the number will be 88,000 minus 52,500, which is 35,500. That's A. And then number 19 says, okay, if the percentage production of P type cars in 2000 was the same as that in 2000, then the number of P-type cars produced in 2001 would have been, okay, so in 2000, P was at 30%. So we have 30% times 440,000, which gives us 132,000, which is E. Okay, and then for question 20, it says 85% of the S-type cars produced in each year were sold by the company. How many type S cars remains unsold? Okay, so we have 85%. Okay, so firstly we have to calculate the total number of S-type cars that were produced in both 2000 and 2001. So in 2000, the percentage of S, okay, is 10%, same as 2001. So the total number of all cars produced is 350,000 plus 440,000. So we have 350 plus 440,000, which gives us 790,000. Okay, and then we have to multiply this by 10%, which gives us 79,000. If only 85% of these cars were sold, that means 15% were unsold. So I got the 15% from 100% minus 85%. So 15% of 79,000 will be 11,850. So our answer for question 20 is 11,850, which is C.